Welcome to the weekend with Booze and the Bees.
Well, they could be watching this on any day.
Welcome to our weekend on Booze of the Bees.
Welcome. It's been a weekend. Nothing that exciting. We were at the mall for hours.
Hours with children.
Yeah. Our mini, and then her friend wanted to go to the mall. So we were nice and
Did that.
took them. And then it took like 4 hours. And I didn't realize how exhausting that would be.
Yeah, they went to every store. We were planning on doing a bunch of recording for different products today.
Yeah. But I did take recordings at the mall, which also do well. And
good.
also sometimes could pay.
Yeah.
Randomly.
A little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Well, views, yeah. I know it's not a ton, but look, I'm trying to at any angle I can get. So when something starts popping off, I'm trying to keep going with it. You know?
Yeah, get some validation that like what you're doing is somewhat the right thing.
Maybe.
And it's good just to be part of the community. They want to see what you're up to. They like it. They've expressed that they like it. So why be like, nope, unless you buy something, I'm not going to give you what you want. It's like, no, that's not what we want to do.
Right.
You know, we want you to be able to enjoy time and connect with us. And, you know, we want people to understand any advice that we give is geared towards them by them actually seeing what we do. Like, truly. Because there's a lot of people out there that kind of fake that they're something so that they can try to get a lot of people to back their stuff. It's like, no, we just want to be who we are. And if you're like us, then maybe some of the advice we give will help you.
Yeah, and if you don't like our advice, well, I mean, there's no point stressing about it.
Then shove it.
Just move on. Moving on.
Get
out of here. I guess we could talk about, there was a TikTok, there's this thing on TikTok that this makeup company, they're called Tarte. They do this thing where they like invite a couple influencers every couple months or something to Bora Bora. I think it's Bora Bora. It's somewhere really tropical and bougie, and they like pay for them and a friend to go. And
yeah, I hear Bora Bora is one of the prettiest places anywhere in the world to go, right?
So it's like a thing that Tarte does, you know, and it helps them because they send them all this PR and stuff, and they're promoting it, and then they're all taking all this content and on the beach and stuff, right? There's a lot of people hating on it.
Why?
Well, because they're jealous, really.
And sure.
Is it hindsight? Is that the word?
Hindsight? Yeah, that's a word. I don't know if it applies. I don't know what you're going to say next.
Well, I was saying they're jealous in hindsight. Because you were like,
hindsight's like,
it was how it flowed, but now it's not flowing.
Yeah, if you're like, I went to college, in hindsight, I should maybe have just started a business. So it's saying, thinking back, maybe I should have done something different. That's what hindsight is. It means I did something, but knowing what I know now, I should have done something else. That's what hindsight means. Oh. So it's like, I did the lottery or I put it all on red. In hindsight, I would have put it all on black because red didn't win. Black won.
Okay. Now, I don't think that's how I was using it.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, I saw a couple videos now where people are saying that they're so mad that these random people that they don't know about are getting to go to this place and
that's amazing for
they
them.
get all these products and all this money spent on them and stuff, and I'm just like,
you just wish that was you, and I wish it was us. Now I'm jealous too,
and
but I'm happy for them.
I'm glad majority of the comments are saying like you literally just wish you were being them. Like,
yeah,
like why hate on someone who's having a good time?
Me. And it's like maybe it will be you next time.
Like, why should it be you? Did you work really hard and make the content?
And did they reach out? Did you not? Maybe they did, and they got a break, and they told their whole family, and they were crying in the bathroom, ugly crying, because they were so happy because something finally panned out for them.
Either way, they would have been upset. If it was really famous people or celebrities, they would have been like, "Oh my God, it's always celebrities."
I would have been more upset if it was celebrities because, you know, knowing that it's a creator that's like you can give you hope that companies actually are hearing what the audience wants, which is people like them getting a break.
They don't think creators and influencers deserve that for some reason. Someone was like, "Oh, none of your well-paying customers deserves to go on a trip to Bora Bora," or something like that. And I was like, people just don't get it, the work and stuff you have to put into being invited to something like that. Like,
yeah, Minnie had YouTube on downstairs, and she was watching this one person, and I was
her name's Pearson.
extraordinarily jealous of it because I'm like, well, the editing style is good and it's quick paced or whatever. And I'm just like,
I get like that
so
sometimes,
amazing. And they're going to all these great places. There's the deepest pool in the world. I'm just like,
You can't hate. What are you hating for?
I don't hate because that's what we want to do. Like, why would you hate on what you want to be? Right, for sure. And there is effort going into it. Like, you can see they cared about their script. They cared about their storyline. They're taking the videos.
And
yeah,
even
they
if
have an editor, but that's a lot of work. And I had this thought today, which I've had many days, where just like that customer said, why aren't the customers getting to go to Bora Bora? Like, rich people get more stuff for free and they don't need it for free. The thing is, they're not getting it for free. They have to wear it at events. They have to record things. They have to do work. They had to build something. So when you get a free Versace shirt, you have to wear that a shirt at a venue or something like that. So it's not free. It's a ton of work, a ton of effort to get stuff. And the company gets things back for that. So you consider it, it's not free. They're making content. They're advertising your product. So customers like you buy their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's work. Might be fun work. It's really cool work to go to Bora Bora.
Yeah, I bet. I've never been anywhere like that before.
Yeah, me neither. I've been to Mexico. Those are the beaches I've gone to.
I've been to Italy beaches.
How are those ones?
They're not like the bright blue water beaches and stuff. They're a little rockier. Sand. I don't know. Crowded.
Like you wear shoes on the beach because it's rocks, or
Well, there's like some of it. Then there are some parts you could take your shoes off, but I think it was mostly like rocky.
Yeah, that's not my favorite. For sure. Mexico beaches.
It's a little hazy too. And I'm sure I didn't explore all of the Italian beaches and stuff. And then I've just been to like the California beaches, but never anywhere where it was like clear water.
Yeah, like Bahamas.
Considered
style.
tropical, I guess. Because I don't think Italy is considered tropical, right? What is it?
Mediterranean.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different thing over there.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
Nope.
It's another thing we can do together.
Yeah.
I've never been on one either.
Yeah,
but they're
kind of
scary. I see some videos that make them look kind of scary.
What do you mean?
Like whenever they get into some rough waters and stuff, and just like
where it's
how
like
it can get kind of scary.
Insane. Yeah, but I was raised around the water and fishing in deep oceans. Like we've had waves bigger than our boat and stuff.
See, I've never been around that. So it'll be new for me.
That's how we did it. You'd be flipping out. You'd be holding on to the sides like, and you're like, we're in the middle of the ocean. There is no escape. The only way is water that way, water behind us, and the other way. So you're doomed. You sort of just had to deal with it.
And how do like when you see those videos where the water crashes through the windows?
Well,
that's crazy.
You don't want that to happen. That's like an emergency thing. You know how like the gymnast that Chloe watches is like the 1% thing where it's like,
it's not as often.
Oh, like doesn't happen almost ever. And when it does happen, it's like an extraordinarily rare case. Or that's your job and you're in super dangerous places and you are trained to do it and you're tied off to stuff. Like you wear a whole vest and it's like lashed on to a metal thing. So if you go overboard, it still sucks, but you know, you kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so that's on really big boats too that can handle those waves. Those little boats, you don't just go out into the middle of the ocean on like dinghy. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ocean's horrendously dangerous.
Very.
There's a reason every culture that has boats has some kind of water god because that thing is absolutely insane. The ocean is crazy.
It's a little terrifying.
Yeah. It made all life. That lotion thing created all life.
Yeah, magical.
Yep.
I think. I know it's like scientifical.
Scientifical.
Is that scientific?
You know what? I always had this thought process, right? When you're talking about magicians, for instance, from not like modern day magicians, they do card tricks. I'm talking about like Excalibur, King Arthur days magicians where they had the big beards, sorcerers like Merlin.
Those are real?
Yeah, people had them, right? Just like they had
Really?
shamans, right? They had shamans. They're just people tripping nuts.
No, I know, but
woods.
Merlins, I didn't know there were wizards walking around.
Like, where do you think they came from? Right? Why do we got magicians now?
Myths.
Well, I'm not saying they're like walking around actually shooting like energy beams at their fingers, bzzz, like doing crazy stuff. I'm just saying, what if one of them invented a lighter, and they're like magic, and they're like, whoa, that's nuts. You know what I mean?
I never knew that they were like walking around in robes and like a hat and being like, I'm a Merlin.
Well, I don't know how ridiculous they looked. I'm no like Merlin scholar, but they got some wild people. Obviously, it came from something. Someone wore some weird stuff somewhere, and they're like, yeah, let's jot that down. But it was just like some scientist. Someone was like, man, if I click this rock and this metal together, it makes a spark, and I have this thing, and if I like stomp my foot, it'll like push gas out. I'm moving my hand everywhere, so my audio is gonna be weird here. But it'll like push gas out, and then I can go and then make a little flamethrower out my hand, and then everyone's going to be befuddled because they're an inventor. And so science literally becomes magic depending on how much you know about it. Like, go to an ancient civilization and take a picture of them with your phone and show them that, and they're like, what did you do, sorcerer? And they like cut your head off because they're like, no, none of that wizardry nonsense in our neck of the woods. So that's very like.
Do you think we would freak out if someone just came up and they were like, with magic?
Well, just imagine someone just teleported into the middle of our room here. And just
that would
be like,
insane.
oh, you're magical. And they're like, no, we've had teleportation systems for like thousands of years. You guys are so behind, because we're Earth, we're here, and we've got little tribal people that have never seen technology ever. And then there's us, and now there's another planet, and they're like, oh, Earth is so like 2000 and late. You know what I mean?
Or like that could be like a movie or an anime where it's like some kid, like they're like, yeah, okay, Timmy,
planet.
you're not supposed to teleport to Earth, and then they're like, let's do it, and then they do
it,
and they run
like,
into a human, and they're like, oh my god, and then they run to another human kid, and they become best friends.
Mm-hmm.
They look can't just tell
like
anybody.
Humans. They just look exactly the same.
Do
it's just they have technology be science. Like they're just humans.
They
from
have like
Mars
an
or
extra
something.
finger. Nothing's different.
No, I would say they like if a human with maybe they all have big beards and robes on, right? And they just appeared in the middle of your living room, and they're just like, I'm here, and then they just floated around because obviously they have anti-grav devices. Because who wants to walk in the future, right? But we would just say you're magical, and they're not magical. They're just scientific.
I wish we could teleport. That'd be so cool.
Zoom. There was this idea about teleportation. Now, hear me out. You took all of humans are just atoms, so there's some amount of matter, which means there's some amount of carbon and nitrogen and oxygen and all this different. There's atoms and elements in your body.
Mm-hmm.
A certain amount, very specific amount.
Okay.
An exact amount.
Okay.
No more, no less. Okay. So now I have a tub, and in that tub has all the elements humans are made of. And I have a device that can put all the atoms back together. And it can do it exactly the same way as your body. So it can identically clone you exactly how you are in place, because all we're doing is we take your matter, we melt you down over here, and we build you up over there.
Oh, that sounds painful.
Let's say we could do it. No, they just zap you here, zap you there. And we have a device, let's say, that can map all of your brain. So think of Elon Musk's little brain thing. So it knows all of your neuron placements and all the electrons and where they fire, everything. Mm-hmm. Which in theory, if you had 100% of everything perfectly on, you are exactly cloned from here to there. And so I go into this booth and boof, zapped. I'm gone there. And then zap, they build you up over there, a complete new identical human to who you were on the other side. Now, all your memories are the same because all the neuron pathways are the same. Everything should theoretically be exactly the same as it was before, because every experience you've ever had is just another pathway.
Oh, kind of like in Invincible.
In what way? Which part?
The guy that was always cloning himself, and then they're like, I'm the original.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. Yeah, if anyone's seen Invincible, that's a good thing. It's the twin brothers where they didn't know who was the clone, who's the original. All the memories are there. Everything's there.
Yeah.
It's a big tank with all the... I didn't even think of that when I made this analogy.
Funny.
But yeah, that.
Mm.
And so they make an exact clone of you.
Is it the same person?
Is it the same person? Because is your soul connected to that body? And what's a soul?
That's the thing. What's a soul?
Because then could you just make two of the same exact person or not? Because then you'd have two exact same people. If all you
That's
had to do
trippy to
is
think
duplicate.
about.
Yeah. So that could be teleportation, but you get into that concept of, did you just kill that person when you zapped their body?
Uh-huh.
Because it's the same entity here, and it would do the same things. Is it a new soul here? Is the first soul just gone forever?
But we're nowhere near that happening, right?
Oh, not even remotely
Oh,
close.
okay,
Like
okay.
this is like a may never happen
Just
until we might bomb ourselves into oblivion before that ever happens. You know what I mean? Elon Musk already said, he's like, in the next 25
I know,
years,
you talk about that. I don't like
pretty shaky for humanity. But if we get past 25 years, then we're gonna have a total brain scan. That's what he says. But we might not make it that far. You got to think about every other major civilization throughout history, like the Egyptians.
Well, when was the last wipeout?
I mean, we had Egyptians and Romans, I think. That was like a big one. And then we burnt all the Roman library, so we lost all of technology with the Dark Ages.
When was that?
And then the bubonic plague wiped a bunch of people out. But that didn't like wipe out history.
Well, would COVID be that then?
Not even remotely close.
Really?
COVID's not even like the flu. COVID was like a joke.
It wasn't even like the plague or anything.
It wasn't even close to the plague.
Oh.
It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. It was a political scheme. It was barely even a disease. Yeah, people died. People died through history. Welcome to history. Have you read a book?
Right. That's crazy. I thought it was.
No, the bubonic plague, there was just carts in the street where you tossed out your family members because it was every day.
When
like
was
your
that?
whole family died. When was that? I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
was.
I'm really curious when the last one was. Like, are we good? Are we like in the clear for a while? Or are we getting close?
Well, here's my thing about the Egyptians is no one knows why they just disappeared. It was like Mayans. Nobody knows. They just sort of disappeared. Aztecs sort of just disappeared. Romans sort of just disappeared, right? Now we have some history books that say what was leading up to those events.
So the first wave, called the Black Death in Europe, was from 1347 to 1351. And then the second wave was in the 1500s.
Yeah, you got to look at how much of the population and the planet disappeared, like percentage. Like how many people got wiped out. But what I'm getting at is we lost all history of what happened to these civilizations. And you could say it's like, well, Egypt used to have rivers and it was lush and there was greens and stuff. Now it's just some big dirt desert. They could have had massive
30 to
technology.
50% of the entire population of Europe. So between 75 to 200 million people.
Yeah, that's an insane. 50% of Europe, babe.
That's crazy.
That's insane. So, no, we weren't even close. Not even close.
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago. So then when did the Egyptians, what was that called? When did the Egypt...
Like disappear?
Yeah.
Just say that. When did the Egyptians disappear? They just stopped, right? Click the button. Just click it. Hey, click enter.
Babe, it wasn't the right one. Around 2150 BC.
And what happened? Does it say that, like, they're just gone? But what they were saying it looked like was there was an event, like an atmospheric event that would have been like nuclear bombs going off, right? That would have wiped out the entire place the way it is. Which is insane to me to think is humans could have gone a completely different technological path because that's thousands of years before we had any type of technology. And then it took a couple thousand years again before we got anything like computers. So humans had already been around for like 10,000 years before that happened. Civilizations of humans. Humans have been around a long time as a species.
There's like so much. I can't get like...
Yeah, no stress. There's like a ton of information on it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But what I'm getting at is there could have been technology that came, because we got to imagine computers came out in the 80s, right?
Okay.
60 years of computers. We have supercomputers and spaceships, and we can go, so much has changed with computers that our life almost depends on it. And that was only in 60 years.
Why does our life depend on it?
because we run every part of modern society with it. So if we stopped computers, we would no longer have almost any infrastructure. We wouldn't know how things get paid for. There would be no money. People wouldn't know how to do anything. And we don't farm and stuff and trade for commerce anymore.
Oh.
So like almost all the jobs would disappear and people would just be mad and go crazy. So computers are a big deal now, but they were only around for like 60 years.
Right.
Now you got to imagine before that, so let's go back to zero, Jesus, right? Going all the way back to zero. From zero
What happened?
to now, we had carts and horses. Now we have cars and planes and we can go to space. That was in 2,000 years. Now, Egyptians, 2,500 years before that is when they were wiped out. Now, they had been around for what? 5,000 years? So you're going to say in 2,000 years, we went from horses to spaceships. So you don't think Egyptians could have gone from horses to spaceships, but they just had a different technology?
Okay, so they were around for 5,000 years before they got wiped?
Oh, we can see, look up when Egypt, like modern Egypt started. We'd have to look it up, right? There's so many scholars that are just going to just murder us.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, humans have been around for thousands and thousands of years. We know for fact that like we've recorded humans like 100,000 years ago as species. And so then as modern species, right, it wouldn't be hard to believe that 10,000 years before that they were around. Because right now we're at 5,000 years talking for when Egypt ended. So they were around a couple thousand years before that. So who's to say a society didn't get to where we are?
Do you know when they said Adam and Eve happened?
No.
No.
Like one? I don't know.
Oh, right? So before Jesus?
Well, they would have been the first humans, babe.
Yeah. So you said one. That doesn't make sense after year zero.
No, just instant, just immediate, one unit. I didn't say BC or AD. I just said one. Just the immediate.
It's saying...
It's also tough when you get religious people into things because like they'll just say whatever helps.
Well, it's saying I don't know what that says. Matrilineal most recent common ancestor lived around 155,000 years ago, while the patrilineal most recent common ancestor lived around 200,000 to 300,000 years ago.
So they're just saying the evolution of man. So they're saying who Adam is. But when you get religious people into it, there's no real calendar or time, right? So it's tough to say, right? They just say there was nothing and then there was man, and that could have been 200,000 years ago. Could have been yesterday. They don't care. As long as it fits in the book, they're fine. Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting at is we have the technology now to end the world. And we went from horses to spaceships, right? And we didn't have the first nuke until 1940. So in 2,000 years, we did that. There's nothing to say that the Egyptians, because we knew they had lights, we knew they had batteries, but those could have been batteries in the museum. They may have found out a way to be completely sustainable and recyclable for all of their materials. So imagine instead of us having plastic bottles that sit in the ocean forever, we figured out how to make them out of scorpion shells. And the scorpion shells would decompose and go back into the ground. They could have been having scorpion shell based tech water bottles. We don't know. They could have a different technology absolutely completely. Mm-hmm. It all turns into sand when it gets wiped out.
I see.
So we don't know their tech. They could have gotten to a point where they were so advanced, they left the planet and they were actually traveling the stars. They could still be out there. It could have gotten to a point they wiped themselves out with their version of nukes, whatever it was.
Or robots.
Or whatever they made.
But then I guess the robots still would have been here.
Or they all left, or they were all made out of sustainable materials instead of metals and stuff that stays around forever.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy if they left and then someone comes back?
And that's the thing. What if, hear me out, because Elon Musk is trying to scan our brains here, right? And get a total brain scan. Humans said bodies are for wimps. Bodies die. That's horrible. Mm-hmm. I'm going to copy our essence into robots. Whatever they use the material, doesn't have to be metal. We know they had metal. We know they had golds and stuff. Like they knew how to make stuff. We're going to make this little robot dude that's going to live forever. And our whole society is going to transfer our brain into this ship and off it goes. And Egypt just left, never dying, just to become gods. And you know how they say, in 7 days the world was made? But time is relative based on speed. They're just traveling so fast. They're like, I'm just going to give it a month, but a month in their time is like 250,000 years. And they come back in 250,000 years. And they're like, all right, we're here. We're Egyptians. What's happening, dogs?
That'd be crazy.
And they're like, what do you mean you're Egyptians? I'm like, yo,
Is that a movie?
We're smart. Like, we knew how to do things. We've been around for 5,000 years. You guys had computers, and in 60 years, look at your society. You're off to the moon. Now you're trying to get to Mars. Like, yeah, we figured that stuff out like thousands of years ago.
Yeah, why are we special? We're like, ooh, we're so smart.
Oh, we're the only smart humans in 250,000 years, they were saying,
There's no way.
There's no way we're the only smart ones. No. Do we have different tools than they did in the past? Sure. We use mechanics and electronics and silicon wafers and different things.
Yeah, but they didn't have those same materials back then. Like, why do we have them now?
Well, we just figured out a different way to do it. Just like Japanese swords, there's certain alloys we do not know what they made it out of. Oh. It's not that they didn't have the materials, it's that they found a way to combine the materials to make something cool. Just like Roman concrete. We just figured out what they did for Roman concrete. Oh. Because why do our concrete buildings break down over time, but the Roman Colosseum is still there? Mm-hmm. And the reason why is they have lime and seawater. And if you mix lime, which is it's a type of rock, not like the fruit. If you mix that rock in with the concrete, in with seawater that has salt and stuff in it, if you get a crack and then rainwater goes in, it grows into calcium and it fills in the crack automatically. It's self-healing concrete. We haven't done that. We just figured out how they did it, and they had it thousands and thousands of years ago. I'm like, why did we have worse concrete forever? It's not that we didn't have access to the same materials as them, it's that we didn't know what mixed together. Mm-hmm. And that's like what we're saying with magic potions and stuff. It's not to say that maybe they actually did have like a love potion, and it's a mixture of different chemicals and ingredients, and it really did work and make people fall in love. And we just don't remember it anymore, right?
Yeah.
It could have been a magical witch potion. Yeah. Like stuff like this could be real, and we just make it fictional because the way we portray it is in a fictional way, not in the real way it actually worked. For instance, we know pheromones exist and work, and we make perfumes with pheromones to make you more. So maybe they figured that out and they just did it a different way, right? Yeah. And so we make it, they fall in love and it's like this hard, madly in love thing. Maybe it's just a perfume. They just invented perfume. They just called it something different. It's a love potion.
Yeah, that's cool to think about.
Yeah. So
I like seeing where our conversations go during this. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. But that's nuts. Mm-hmm. The world's nuts. Humans are nuts. We could have done anything. They could be out there. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll wait 2 months. Been 2,000 years, Egyptians come down and they're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, we made civilization. You guys were little cave people. We dropped down in our little ship or whatever. And we hooked y'all up with fire. Yeah, that's us. You guys wrote about Prometheus. That's him.
I just wonder what we would do. Like, what would the government do if, like, spaceships started coming down? Would they shoot at them? Would they just wait?
I don't know. There's some theories out there that we've seen real spaceships, like that we have some. There was a guy who went on the Joe Rogan podcast who was like worked for the government, and he said he's seen some anti-grav stuff, and they're like, figure out how this works, and they're like, there's no way we can figure out how this works.
Dang.
But obviously he's not.
I can't believe he could talk about that.
Yes, he's obviously not dead, so maybe he didn't know enough. Yeah. And so that he's giving fake info, which makes it, because it's like, would it be seen more real if they nabbed him, or does he sound more like a kook if you didn't nab him, right? So maybe it's one of those things, because definitely if it was I have proof, he would have been gone. Right. But without proof, he might just sound like a kook.
That's true. You'd have to be really convincing.
Because there are kooks. And that's the thing. It's there's definitely kooks, and then there could be one guy telling the truth, but if there's enough kooks, it's like you're just another one. But I mean, hey, in the world we want to be interesting, I'd buy it. Yeah, I think it's outrageous. Like you said, humans have been around 150,000 years, and we're the only smart ones.
I don't have that much faith in us. I'm sorry.
And for one, if anything, are we not the dumber ones?
We might be,
because we don't have to survive. We just have to pay bills. We don't have to be smart enough to avoid a jaguar attack, right? Like, we have the infrastructure to protect us from jaguars. Like, that's not a concern anymore, you know?
It's weird to think how, like, there just used to not be bills. Then their worries were like getting
Like
eaten by a
living-
jaguar and
like
stuff.
living tomorrow.
And now it's like, oh, we don't have to worry about this now, but let's add this different worry.
Humans just need worry, right? It's an evolutionary thing. You need to worry about
Because
stuff.
there's no way we could just live without rent, right?
I mean, we could do it, but it doesn't. It's one of those things where you can come up with a different society that lives without rent. It's called communism. It doesn't work because people are greedy and stuff.
No, I know you said communism, but like still like, I don't know. I guess you would still work, but
Nah,
you get to do what you want. It's just not possible.
What do you mean? That's what we do now. We're doing this.
Well, not really. You still have to do your full-time job. You know, like if we didn't have bills and stuff, I think you would probably wouldn't be stressing as much. And we would be like, oh, we're making this money here and there. We don't have to stress about monthly bills.
It's one of those things that's a good concept until it's put into practice.
That's what I'm wondering. I was like, would it work? Not like saying it should be the
It doesn't. This is the closest thing that works because, I don't have to stress about bills. I'm like, cool. So the guy who has to build the house in rain and sleet and get up on the roof and do all that,
I guess
he has to do a ton of
wants
work.
to
No one
build
wants to
houses.
do the hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work needs to get done, so they get paid more for doing the harder thing. And the people who want to have fun and do their fun stuff like we're trying to do, it's harder to get paid to doing that kind of work because it's fun work. The people getting paid to go to Bora Bora is fun work.
I guess it's hard because it's just like house sizes and things. Because I was going to say like, well, then we should still pay those people more. And then the people who do the entertaining stuff get paid less. But
that is how it goes. Unless you
entertainers get paid way more than like.
Yeah, but everyone wants to be an entertainer and only one of like a million.
That's
get
what I'm
picked.
saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's why the other jobs would still exist and people would do them because you're getting money still, like
and
more
then
money.
And then you end up at well, why did we make rent free then? You know what I mean? Because it's like, we're going to pay them more. It's just capitalism with extra steps.
No, the more money is now like I want a fancier car or I want fancier food. Not I need to work to get food. Like you can get the bare minimum. Here's some fruit and veggies.
Yeah,
and
but then
meat.
who grows that? So now someone's forced to grow things. If a majority of people don't want to work, they still get the bare minimum of food. So farmers are required, but they don't get paid a lot.
because I guess people could also just never work.
If you get, and it's not that if everybody stopped working, because that would never happen. It's that a lot of people wouldn't, and then farmers have to do so much. And then, finally, I'm a farmer that works really hard and I get paid so much. Does that mean I get a bigger house? It would mean that, except for all the people building houses also get a lot of money. And then who's going to serve you food? Because that's not a job anymore because it's a low paying job. And no one wants to do the food service. So now you worked your ass off and you don't even get to go to Starbucks and get a drink, because no one wants to work at Starbucks. And everyone's houses are paid for. It's like, why would I get a Starbucks job when I can do no job and get a slightly smaller place? So all the people doing the work are just mad, and then all the people not doing it just becomes a mess. So it's like a worse version of just capitalism, where it's like the market says if your job is worth anything or not. And if you want to risk trying to become a celebrity, to get paid doing the fun work, then you can risk it. But you have to know 1 million other people are gunning for the same job, and there's only one slot. Per 1 million people, there's one slot. So if you're not going to beat 1 million people, you're not going to get paid doing it. You could go work on a farm or go work building the houses because there's 1 million slots and almost anybody can do it. It's just hard and lame and you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But you can get paid a decent living and then you can go off and do your thing. That system works because it's like you get to choose your risk. My risk of having a really cool life, but having to work really hard and not getting any results until then and having to stress about bills. That's the price you pay. Or not stressing about bills. And it is. Not stressing about bills because you get paid, but you have to work really hard every single day. So, yeah. Our system's the best we have now, just given how humans are. Some people are more ambitious than others, and that's fine. Like, we need that.
Right.
Not everybody.
It's like it has to be like a good balance almost.
It has to be a good balance. Communism says doctors get paid the same amount as a farmer, gets paid the same amount as a Starbucks employee. And they all live in a little shed, and that sucks.
Yeah,
because that's the amount of responsibility one has versus the other.
Right.
It doesn't work. And then eventually you say, well, everyone wants to just do the easy job then, because we're all going to get the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
And so how do you force someone to do the hard job? You say, okay, you're smarter than this one, so you have to be a doctor because that one's too stupid to do it. And then they say, oh, well, that's dumb. Well, I don't want to do it because I'm smart enough to say, I'm not gonna. Well, good thing we have these guns. Now you're forced to do it. And it's literally how it's been in every single communistic society, because you just can't force people to do things that they don't want to do, and you can't make it unfair. Like, I don't care that my doctor drives a Ferrari because he probably does good work and he's way smarter than me. Otherwise, I would have done it too. I hope you get the biggest house possible because that's the guy I want working on me. You know what I mean? It's a hard job. So, yeah. Society, civilization, tech, weird stuff.
All right, y'all. I feel like we're good.
Yeah, this is an episode, all right.
Guffaw.
Guffaw.
Thanks for listening. Until next time. Hope we didn't blow your brains too much.
Is this one going to be called Humanity is Just Blowing Our Brains? Is that what the episode's called?
Is that? Sure.
Okay.
Bye.